In the past, new consoles would often come with a game to show off the capabilities of your shiny new piece of hardware, but in recent years, pack-in games have become something of a rarity. That's why it was such a pleasant surprise to see that Sony were including Astro's Playroom pre-installed on every PS5. Astro's Playroom is a sequel to the PSVR game Astrobot Rescue Mission, and borrows a lot from that game mechanically. Astrobot Rescue Mission was highly acclaimed, so I knew that this game was developed by a team with a strong pedigree, but knowing this was a smaller game that only takes a couple of hours to complete, and the fact that it's entirely free, did mean that I had somewhat tempered my expectations for Astro's Playroom. But after finishing the game and making it my first PS5 Platinum, I'm totally blown away by just how much I love Astro's Playroom. While short, this delightful little platformer serves as both a showcase of the new DualSense controller, as well as a celebration of PlayStation's history. In terms of gameplay, Astro's Playroom is a 3D platformer with an emphasis on collecting coins, puzzle pieces, and artifacts. Astro platforms, punches, and hovers his way through 4 main levels, each of which are filled to the brim with secrets to find. The platforming mechanics themselves are largely copied over from the VR game, which is a good thing because the platforming in Astro's Playroom feels tight and well refined. Each of the 4 levels in Astro's Playroom is based on a different aspect of the PS5's architecture, with levels inspired by the console's cooling, GPU, SSD, and memory. This is a fun gimmick that makes sense since this game's purpose is to introduce you to your new console. But what makes Astro's Playroom truly special is that it also serves as a love letter to the last 4 generations of PlayStation consoles. Throughout levels, you'll see robots modelled after all sorts of characters from PlayStation games. There are dozens and dozens of these to find, and not only can you see these robots reenacting moments from first-party games like Uncharted or Ratchet & Clank, you'll also find robots that pay homage to third-party games that have a history tying them to PlayStation, like Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. But that's not where the fan service ends. The collectible artifacts I mentioned before are all pieces of hardware from PlayStation's history, everything from consoles and handhelds to obscure peripherals. Once you've collected these artifacts, you'll be able to find them all in the PlayStation Labo, a room dedicated to showing off all the PlayStation hardware released over the last 25 years. It's also worth noting that the other collectible type, the puzzle pieces, come together to form murals on the walls of the PlayStation Labo as well. And that's just scratching the surface of the PlayStation references in this game. Even the trophy list is filled with Easter eggs. As a big fan of PlayStation, I was filled with nostalgia throughout Astro's Playroom, and was blown away by not only the amount of nods to PlayStation's history that was showcased here, but also by how varied these references were. While there are plenty of references to some of PlayStation's biggest hits, there are also some surprisingly deep cuts hidden in here for hardcore PlayStation fans. Astro's Playroom takes every opportunity it can to showcase what makes the DualSense such a unique controller, and it does so to great effect. The controller's haptic feedback is shown off through things like letting you feel the pitter-patter of rain falling on an umbrella, or by having you feel how the DualSense can make walking on different textures feel different. For example, walking on sand feels noticeably different to walking on a sturdy surface. The DualSense's adaptive triggers are also given a lot of spotlight in Astro's Playroom, particularly thanks to some of the equipable suits you find in stages. One of these suits is the frog suit. This suit has a giant spring on the bottom that allows you to hop around the level. You do this using the DualSense's triggers, which are adjusted to have more resistance when using this suit, to simulate the feeling of pushing down on a spring. Another suit that makes good use of the triggers is the monkey suit, which allows you to climb walls. You grab different handholds with triggers, and some of these handholds will break if you push the trigger down too hard. Astro really sold me on the potential of the DualSense allowing further immersion in games, and it's fun to imagine how developers could take advantage of the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. I just hope this is something that a lot of developers choose to dedicate time to, so that the feature doesn't just fall into the background after the initial launch lineup of games. Astro's Playroom also offers an absolutely phenomenal soundtrack that perfectly complements the game. I'd like to give a special shout out to the GPU jungle music, which has been stuck in my head since finishing Astro. After finishing Astro's Playroom, you'll be able to jump into 8 speedrun levels, which are all excellent examples of just how good the level design in Astro's Playroom is. I thought it was a nice touch to also include some DLC trophies, including ones that tied into the speedrun levels. This gave me a little something extra to do after getting the platinum, which I was up for as I was looking for any excuse to put more time into this game. It'd be easy to skip over Astro's Playroom in lieu of playing bigger launch titles like Miles Morales and Demon's Souls, but I implore you to play through Astro. Even though it's only a brief experience, taking me around 4 hours to platinum, it not only presents the greatest example of the DualSense's potential to offer new experiences, but also acts as a reminder of how awesome previous console generations have been, leaving me with not only a massive feeling of nostalgia for what has been, but also a sense of anticipation for what's still to come. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, including my upcoming reviews for Miles Morales and Sackboy: A Big Adventure.